Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 259 for August 30th, 2022. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, the NFL preseason is over, and there was free beer in Dublin, Ireland at an NCAA college football game. In this week's history lesson, we continue our discussion with part 2 of the greatest player nicknames in football history. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Preseason's over.
Yep.
The fantasy football drafts are flowing.
Yeah.
I completed one of my 3. That's right. I got 2 upcoming this week. I know. Yep. I've really outdone myself this year. 3 leagues again.
Can we get a little sound effect of me rolling my eyes when you start talking fantasy football?
What we could do is we could get a slide whistle. And
okay.
every time you do that, you could just use a slide whistle. I'm not going to do the effect for you, but you could do the slide whistle, and then everybody at home will know.
Or maybe a kazoo. A Kalamazoo kazoo.
Oh, my
I
God.
can
No.
start doing that whenever you start talking
Stop
fantasy
this
football.
right now. If you want to see my main fantasy football league I run, I do have a YouTube channel where we're taking this thing public. Game of Thrones fantasy football is on YouTube if you care to check out our league.
Gosh. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. NFL preseason might be over with, but guess what, everybody? We still got Canadian regular season football going, and we are very, very happy about that, as it is Week 12 in the Canadian Football League, starting with a matchup on Thursday night, which saw the defending 2-time Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the Calgary Stampeders in a close game, 31-29. Calgary had a 25-24 lead at the start of the fourth quarter, but it was Winnipeg that found a way to take the lead and hold off the Stampeders for the victory. On Winnipeg's side of the ball, quarterback Zach Collaros completed 19 passes for 294 yards and 2 touchdowns, while wide receiver Nick Dembski caught 8 passes for 117 yards and a touchdown, while other wide receiver Greg McCrae caught 5 passes for 95 yards and a touchdown. On Calgary's side of the ball, quarterback Jake Mayer got the start over Bo Levi Mitchell and completed 23 passes for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Malik Henry caught 7 passes for 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, dang, both teams putting up numbers. Both quarterbacks threw for the exact amount of yards.
I was going to point that out. 294 yards for each quarterback. One had 2 touchdowns, one had 3. So that's how close this game was.
And Calgary getting within a couple of points of beating the Blue Bombers, and Calgary's been up there all season, but they just can't get past those pesky Blue Bombers.
Yeah, Winnipeg had a bye last week, and I think they lost the week before that, going into the bye. So, they had 2 weeks off, so it's been like 3 weeks since they've won a game, but they're right back on track again. Nothing's slowing them down. I don't know who's going to stop Winnipeg this year, but keep on trying, everybody.
If our boy from British Columbia comes back, Nathan Rourke comes back from injury, he could maybe do it.
I don't know.
All right. My former favorite Canadian team, the Toronto Argonauts, somehow defeated the Hamilton Tiger Cats 37-20. I'm just kidding, Toronto. I still like the team, but man, that experience we talked about last week was terrible.
It's going to take a year to get over that. Probably.
Anyway, the Argonauts got revenge on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, giving them a 37-20 beating. Hamilton did lead the game 16-10 at halftime. Gee, this sounds like their first meeting where the Hamilton had the lead and blew it. 16-10 at halftime, Hamilton led, but the Ticats were outscored 27-4 in the second half. That's right, you heard me say 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Toronto defensive back Jamal Peters recorded 3 interceptions in the game. Very impressive, including a 67-yard interception return for a touchdown. Also for the Argonauts, kicker Boris Beatty connected on 3 field goals, including a 56-yarder in the third quarter. Quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson completed 19 passes for the Argos for 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. On Hamilton's side, quarterback Dane Evans completed 19 passes for 244 yards and threw 3 interceptions to that one guy on the other side of the ball. He was replaced by quarterback Matt Schiltz, who completed 13 passes for 144 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Tim White caught 8 passes for the Ticats for 108 yards and a touchdown, while kicker Seth Small connected on 4 field goals for the Ticats, including one from 58 yards at the end of the first half.
So in the other game, you had 2 quarterbacks that threw the exact amount, and in this other game, you had 2 kickers that both, one 56 yards, the other 58 yards.
Yeah, and then you got, what a heck of a defensive performance. How often do you see one guy getting 3 interceptions in a game? That's tough to do. Some guys have to go a whole season to get 3 interceptions. This dude put 3 on the stat sheet in one game.
And he forced the quarterback out of the game because
Pretty
of
much.
single-handedly made him say, okay, we need a change at quarterback in this game.
All right, then moving along. The Saskatchewan Roughriders defeated the British Columbia Lions 23-16. Quarterback Michael O'Connor made his first CFL start for British Columbia in place of the injured Nathan Rourke. Please come back soon. However, O'Connor was injured in the second quarter and replaced by quarterback Antonio Pipkin. Oh boy, don't tell me this is going to be the narrative now for British Columbia.
I don't know how serious his injury is, but he did have to leave the game.
Okay, well, O'Connor, before leaving the game, completed just 6 passes for 94 yards, while Pipkin completed 9 passes for 112 yards and a touchdown in the loss. For Saskatchewan, quarterback Cody Fajardo completed 19 passes for 321 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Kean Schaefer-Baker caught 5 passes for 170 yards and a touchdown, while running back Frankie Hickson ran the ball 15 times for 129 yards. Talk about loading up the stat sheet if you're Saskatchewan there.
Yeah, to me, these were the best highlights of the week. I mean, there were so many, near interceptions and knockdown passes and just a lot of great highlights, even though, it was not a real close game. I mean, 23-16, but still, these were the best highlights of the week. So if you're only going to check out one of them on CFL.ca, check out the Saskatchewan BC game.
All right, and in a game of bottom feeders, the Ottawa Redblacks defeated the Edmonton Elks 25-18. Quarterback Nick Arbuckle made his first start for Ottawa after coming from Edmonton. Arbuckle completed 21 passes for 219 yards, but no touchdowns. However, he did score 1 via the ground game. Wide receiver Nathan Bahar caught 4 passes for 101 yards. It was Ottawa's second win of the season. For Edmonton, though, quarterback Taylor Cornelius completed 14 passes for 287 yards and no touchdowns, but he did score 2 rushing touchdowns. Wide receiver Kenny Lawler caught 3 passes for 146 yards. And I'd also like to mention on Edmonton's social media page, they put up a really good video. I don't know where this came from, but it was on the differences between American and Canadian football.
Really? I didn't see that.
It was on their Instagram page. I saw this. I sent this to some friends because I was like, hey, you guys need to learn the differences between the NFL and CFL because the CFL game is great.
Well, I wonder if it's the same thing that they've been showing, like last year and year before. They were showing that during the game. They had a quick little thing on, here are the differences between the NFL and the CFL.
It could very well be, but I'd never seen it.
And I haven't seen it this year.
It was on their Instagram page. I just thought it was interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do Instagram. But yeah, to me, these were the second best highlights of the week because, again, a lot of great plays in the game, even though it wasn't super close, but just great plays back and forth, both teams.
All right, and then before we get to the standings, we do have a news item that's kind of going to get rolled in here with the bye week, which has the Montreal Alouettes on bye this week. They will host Ottawa next week, but you had this news story.
Yeah, this came out, I think it was just yesterday. The owner of the Montreal Alouettes is walking away from team operations. Gary Stern resigned from the CFL Board of Governors. Stern purchased the Alouettes in January of 2020, along with his father-in-law and business partner, Sid Spiegel. Spiegel passed away in July of 2021, just 2 weeks before the club was scheduled to open the 2021 season. Spiegel owned 75% stake in the Alouettes, while Stern owned the remaining 25%. Stern indicated that his 25% ownership in the team is going to stay there. So this is such a weird situation. I don't know what to think about this. He's the owner. He owns 25%. He's walking away. He doesn't want to run the operations of the team anymore. He's not with the Board of Governors. He's going to remain a minority owner. So I guess the league is going to have to come up with a new majority owner for the team after they just bought it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was a weird situation. I remember the story where they bought the team, and then before they ever took the field, the one guy passed away, his father-in-law.
Well, I'd say you should get Rob McElhenney and Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, to buy the Alouettes, but they're a little busy buying another football club over there in Wales.
Yeah, this would be a better investment, I think.
I don't know. I think it'd be a better story over there in Wales.
I think it would bring more attention to the CFL.
Well, I'm sure, but a little late. They already invested in a European soccer team.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
But hey, we'll see what happens. Maybe some other Canadian celebrities will step up.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more on this story. It just broke yesterday, and he put out a letter to the fans saying that it was a tough decision to make to do this, but he's firm with it. He's not going to change his mind and this and that. So I don't know what to think about it, and hopefully there'll be more information later on.
All right. And then real quick, we're going to finish by going through the CFL standings. In the East, the Argonauts still sit at the top there with a 5-5 record, followed by the 4-6 Alouettes, the 3-8 Tiger Cats, and now the 2-8 Red Blacks. In the West, those Blue Bombers from Winnipeg are still at the top with a 10-1 record, followed by the 8-2 British Columbia Lions, the 6-4 Calgary Stampeders, 6-5 Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are sneakily creeping up the standings there, and then the lowly 3-8 Edmonton Elks at the bottom. And that is it for the CFL. And now we're going to throw it over to Randy, and I guess some college ball started playing this week.
College
Week
football
0.
is back, baby. It's week 0. We all love week 0, don't we?
I'm not warmed up to it yet.
There were 11 games in what's known as week 0 of college football. The biggest game was the game between Northwestern and Nebraska, where Northwestern came on top 31-28. This game was played in Dublin, Ireland, and from the article I read, they said about 10,000 Nebraska fans actually traveled to the game, and 3,000 Northwestern fans were there.
Yeah.
And did you see the video of the
the beer snake?
The beer snake, or the cups?
The fabled beer snake made an appearance.
It wasn't nearly like the one that the XFL did a few years ago. It wasn't nearly that long, but it was impressive.
Yeah.
It was going right down. They were making fun of that maybe it was going to end up in the tuba player's horn or something. Cause it
pretty
was that
easy to
close.
do when you're handing out free beer, right?
Yeah, well, this was another story that kind of goes along with that. Where's my story here? Okay. During the first half of the Northwestern-Nebraska game at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, the concession vendors ran into an internet problem, which put the credit card machines used to take payments out of commission. So they had lost their internet and they couldn't do pay transactions.
You hate to see that.
We've run into that before. But the thing is, they didn't take cash.
Ooh.
So, you couldn't even pay cash to buy your hot dog and beer or whatever. So the only thing that they could do, instead of letting all that stuff go to waste, they gave everything away for free.
Wow.
Free beer, free hot dogs, free nachos, whatever they had there at the stadium, it was all free because they couldn't charge anybody for it. Maybe they should think twice about maybe taking cash next time. But, that's what you get when you put all your faith in modern technology. When it stops, you are screwed.
Maybe. I don't know. I hope somehow they get a little bit of reimbursement. I don't know how or from who.
Yeah, I don't know.
But maybe the colleges could help them out. But
maybe they had a tip jar or something, and they could throw some cash in the tip jar.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. But if you're a fan and you're told hey, everything at the stadium is cards or electronic, why would you take cash to that venue?
Right.
So, I get the ease and convenience of going all electronic, but. Yeah, I think now this will make a lot of venues think twice about not accepting cash.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a policy or what the deal was, or whether they just figured it'd be so much easier if all they did was take cards.
Probably, especially with a bunch of foreign people coming to see the game too. I mean, like you said, 13,000 people from the United States coming over to watch it. So
yeah, and of course all the stands did wind up running out of beer.
Of course they did. When it's free,
what a surprise!
When it's free, you let it flow. Man, if it was free. How many beers would you get if it was free?
None.
Oh, okay, so I'll have your 5 beers that I would have drank otherwise. So that'd be 10 beers for me that day. Well, I guess it depends on the brand.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they had over there, but anyway, moving on to some other scores from week 0 in college football. It was Vanderbilt over Hawaii, 63-10, and this game was played in Hawaii. So all these games I think occurred last Saturday. So on opposite ends of the world, in Hawaii and then in Dublin, Ireland. I don't think you can get any farther away than that. They had college football games that same day. Let's see what else. North Arizona over UTEP, 31-13. Nevada over New Mexico State, 23-12. North Carolina over FCS Florida A&M, 56-24. Florida Atlantic over UNC Charlotte, 43-13. Florida State shut out FCS Duquesne, 23-0. Utah State over UConn, 31-20. Illinois over Wyoming, 38-6. UNLV over FCS Idaho State, 45-14. And Western Kentucky over FCS Austin Peay, 38-27. So that was all the FCS game. Now there were a few other games sprinkled around here and there, Division 2 or 3, and some junior college. But so the only one I'm really going to talk about this week is the mighty Snow College Badgers from Ephraim, Utah, defeated Trinity Valley 36-14. Go Snow Badgers! And that's it for this week's college football report.
Hey, I'm looking forward to next week. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to do the scoreboard with college because there's so much.
Yeah.
We want to highlight all the good stuff. So
yeah, we try to every year we try to highlight FCS, Division 2, Division 3, junior college football, Canadian college football. We try to do that. Canadian college football was kicking off last week too, but I just week 0 and everything and. Next week, we'll really get into heavily talking about the scores from all around the world of football.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, normally our rule of thumb is we just highlight some of the big games or close games or blowouts.
Right.
And then we also focus on the top 4 or 5 teams and how those games went. So we'll see.
We'll see. We might try something different this year.
Ooh, you and change. They don't mix.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, NFL news.
All right.
Let's move on to NFL news. You sent this to me.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens mascot, Poe, was injured during halftime of the team's final preseason game against the Washington Commanders last Saturday night. Poe was participating in a game between a team of mascots and a team of youth football players. You've seen those before.
Oh, yeah.
They're going. Sometimes it looks like the mascots are actually, being a little too rough on these, depending on how little the kids are. It seems like they're a little rough on these kids sometimes.
Oh, suck it up, Buttercup.
But yeah, in this case, it was the mascots that got injured. Poe was pushed down to the ground from behind by a youth player, and I think they said he was a teenager, so he was a little rough.
Hope he got flagged on the play.
I don't know about that. But Poe laid on the ground for 5 minutes and had to be carted off the field after they immobilized his leg. I think he probably had a knee injury or something. But people didn't know how to react to this. They thought maybe it was a skit, or part of the yeah. And so people didn't know how to take that. But evidently he seriously got hurt. And then midway through the third quarter, a replacement Poe returned to the field, and the crowd went crazy seeing him up and around. Baltimore won the game 17-15 and kept their streak of preseason wins alive at 23. Thank goodness they won the game. It's you don't want to snap that streak. Last season, 25 Ravens players were placed on injured reserve at some point. So
now add the mascot to the list.
I didn't realize that they had that many players on injured reserve last year.
Yeah, they had a lot last year. But man, how embarrassing is it to have your mascot now?
Yeah.
I've never heard a story like that, or if you have, it's been a while since we've heard about a weird mascot injury.
Do you remember a few years ago, I think it was several years ago, the mascot for the Tennessee Titans was driving around on a golf cart and ran into a player?
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. I mean, that's another accident involving a mascot, but he didn't get injured. It was the player that got injured at that time.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. National Arena League news. There's going to be a new expansion team in the National Arena League next year in 2023. It's going to be the Fayetteville, North Carolina Mustangs. They've already got a nice little logo out.
Yeah, it looks like a guitar pick in the background, or it could be like...
I didn't look that close at it.
It's like in the
horse
background.
head.
It's the horse in front of what looks like a guitar pick. I don't know if Fayetteville is known for any sort of music, or maybe what I think is a guitar pick is some other sort of horse imagery. I don't know. Or it's just a random triangular shaped background. I don't know.
Like a shield of some kind?
Some sort of shield. But, I like the Mustangs name.
Yeah.
I think it's a decent logo. I'm always excited to see expansion teams in a lot of these leagues, because that just means these leagues are, trying to stick around, and I'm all for that.
Yep.
But I'm not all for this next story.
Also, the National Arena League is going to be bringing back the rebound nets used by the Arena Football League. Now, for years, we've always said that the Arena Football League and AF2, their what do you call it?
The developmental league.
The developmental league were the only ones technically playing arena football, which is patented by the U.S. Patent Office, because they used the rebound nets. It was part of the game. And everybody else, all these other leagues, the National Arena League, the Indoor Football League, the Champions Indoor Football, all these other leagues were playing what I called indoor football, where they had goalposts. They didn't use the nets. And so now the National Arena League is going to try and emulate what the Arena Football League did for years. I guess because they've got arena right in their name, that they felt that maybe we should be trying to play some sort of arena football. So they're going to bring back the nets, and they're also bringing back Ironman football next year. And when the Arena Football League was playing for many years, what was it? 6 out of the 8 players had to play both ways. The quarterback and one
specialist,
offensive, like a wide receiver, and then a defensive back only played on one side of the ball. But everybody else, your lineman played both ways. Your receivers were safeties. Your fullback was a linebacker, that sort of thing. So we'll see, how this works out next year. But supposedly they're bringing back the nets, and they're bringing back Ironman football next year. But they are keeping something called the deuce on kickoffs. And I've heard about this before. I couldn't remember which league did it. But if you have a kickoff and the ball goes through the goalpost, you get 2 points on a kickoff. And, the goalposts are like 9 feet wide or something like that. So it's pretty rare that you can kick it that far and get it through the goalpost. But now with the rebound nets, they're still going to say that if you get it through the goalpost, you're still going to get 2 points on a kickoff. But the only one time you wouldn't get that is after a safety, I guess. If there's a safety and you kick off, then you can't get 2 points on that kickoff. So we shall see how this goes. I think it's going to be a lot closer to the arena football style of play that we've loved for many years, but I just have my doubts that it's going to really be something that I'm going to get into.
I think it'll be weird to see. I'm not for it. I mean, they were arena in name only.
Right.
And I think not having an association with the Arena Football League other than a lot of these old former teams,
right,
which will kind of, I'll admit, it would be cool to see the Jacksonville Sharks and the Orlando Predators and the Albany Empire, and I think those are the main 3 former arena teams that they got in that league. Like, seeing them with the rebound nets again will kind of be cool, but I feel really weird that they're doing this, and it's not their patent. It's the Arena Football League. Yes, right. It's technically a dead league now.
Right.
And
we're still hoping that the Arena Football League does come back someday.
Right. Yeah, same
playing
here.
the exact same style of play. I mean, there's more to the way they play
Everybody
Arena
loves
football.
A reboot. Everybody loves a revival. I mean, shoot. I mean, why can't the Arena Football League get one?
Yeah. I'm still holding out for that. Maybe it's just my pipe dream, but I would love to see the Arena Football League come back.
Right.
And I'm waiting for that day. All right, so moving on to some CIF news, Champions Indoor Football. The Topeka Tropics will not be returning next year.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the team was 0-10 last year.
True, but I was hoping that they could get a bounce back, kind of like the Northern Arizona Wranglers got in the Indoor Football League.
But from what I understand, the 2 guys that owned the team are moving out of town, so they're not going to be located in Topeka anymore. So I don't know if they tried to sell the team to somebody else. Maybe nobody was interested in it, but the team is not going to be returning next year. So that's part of the reason why.
Get your Topeka Tropics merch while you can, everybody.
There you go. If you can find it on eBay or, maybe still through the
Facebook
the league
website.
If they still got some stuff there, you're going to get. It was kind of a cool logo, Wasn't that kind of based on the
Flint Tropics?
Yeah, from the Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah.
But
and the real life Flint.
But the logo looked sort of like the Flint Tropics from the movie. Okay, now this really isn't news, but the College Football Hall of Fame sent out. I get an email from them every now and then, and with different stories and links, and what's going on at the Hall of Fame and all that, and the National College Football Foundation, or whatever their name is. But they had a bunch of stats, and I thought these were really interesting because I saw this first one a few weeks ago, and I wanted to mention it, but I kept forgetting to include it. But according to them, there are 774 colleges and universities playing football at all levels this year. from the FBS to the FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and other leagues. 774 colleges and
That's a
universities.
lot of football.
You know, when I went down there, they had that wall of football helmets, and I can believe that there are that many because I had to take the picture from so far away to get all of them in. You know, you could barely see me standing there in front of it. But yeah, 774 colleges and universities playing football, and there are over 81,000 college football players in the NCAA and the NAIA. 81 colleges and universities have added football programs in the past 13 years, from 2008 to 2021. I find that hard. I mean, I know it seems like every year we talk about,
A college.
4 or 5 maybe, a couple of teams, some dropping football, others adding football, but 81 in the last
I guess
13 years?
I mean, we hear about like the upper level, like FCS, FBS,
True.
adding schools.
True.
But at the Division 2, 3, NAIA level, that is
true.
Probably a few being added there. So.
Yep. Some that we, weren't aware of.
We just don't hear about them.
Yeah. 7 colleges and universities are planning to add football programs this year and beyond. So I haven't seen a list of who the new college football teams are this year and at what level. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what schools are adding it this year. 16 NAIA schools now have women's flag football teams, and that's really getting to be a big thing all over the country. Flag football, whether it's at the high school level or at the college level, flag football is getting pretty popular. And I think really for the younger kids, instead of putting on the pads and helmets, it's a lot safer for them at a young age. And so I get that. I really do. And finally, 125 junior colleges are offering football. And that's the National Junior College Athletic Association, which we cover. That's where Snow College is at. But there's also another one called the California Community College Athletic Association. And so they're like junior colleges that only play other California community colleges. So, there's all kinds of different football going on out there. And I just thought it was really cool that they put out these stats for all these different, players and teams and the total number. I just thought it was very interesting. So I just wanted to share that on the show today. Eli's Places, Season 2, Episode 3 on ESPN+. This was a pretty good one. Last week's episode was called Magic Numbers, and Eli visited USC, where he talked to Willie McGinnis, and he talked about the importance of the number 55 at that school. He also went to Notre Dame and talked to quarterback Rick Mirer, who wore number 3, which is the same number that Joe Montana wore at Notre Dame. And then he went to Syracuse and talked to his old NFL coach, Tom Coughlin, who's there now. And they talked about the importance of the number 44 at that school. And you may remember Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and Floyd Little all wore the number 44 at that school. So it was a good episode. He was like all over the place this week. He wasn't at one school talking to one person. He was at 3 different locations.
Yeah, I just haven't been able to get into Eli's Place. I know you've been on top of it. I've liked Peyton's Places, and
I still like the stories that they tell,
yeah.
and places they go, and the things that they see.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
I like it. It's pretty cool.
And college football is probably I'll give college football the more rich history than like the NFL. Stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure there's a lot of interesting stuff there. It's just I just haven't been able to get into it. But hey, good for you.
774 schools to choose from. Okay, Arena Football TV on YouTube. The game that they posted recently was the 1991 game between the Orlando Predators and the Detroit Drive. This was at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Detroit was the defending Arena Bowl champions that year, and Orlando was an expansion team, so this was their first year in the league. Art Schlichter was the quarterback for Detroit, and I watched a little of the pregame show on this video, and they had highlights from the previous week, different games. One of the highlights included Albany Firebirds wide receiver Steve Tunn catching a touchdown pass.
Huh.
He would go on to be the Grand Rapids Rampage head coach in 2008, and then go on to be the Cleveland Gladiators head coach after that. At the time that this game was played, the Detroit Drive's kicker was Novo Bojovic, and one of their linemen was John Corker, who both played for the USFL's Michigan Panthers.
Wow.
So pretty cool connections there with that game. So you had mentioned this a week or so ago that you saw that they had posted this game, and I was trying to play catch up with some of the games that they've posted, And I finally got around to this one. But yeah, that was a pretty cool intro to the game that I saw. Okay, today's birthdays. August 30th. Running back Sean Alexander turns 45 years old today. He played his college football at Alabama and was the 19th overall pick in the 2000 NFL Draft by the Seattle Seahawks. He played 9 NFL seasons. He was with Seattle from 2000 to 2007, and he finished his career with the Washington Redskins in 2008.
And you don't have this written down, but he also graced the cover of Madden.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know that, but okay, you would know that better than me.
Yeah.
Didn't you just get a new copy of?
I did. I just got the brand new for the first time in 4 years. I finally bought a copy of Madden.
Okay.
Yep, the new John Madden edition. Still getting into it, but
did you say he was like the coach on both sidelines?
Yeah. So you open the game. We're gonna go off on a tangent before we get to the next birthday. You open up the game and you kind of do your tutorial stuff. Hey, what are some of the new game mechanics, like throw in and all this stuff? You got to kind of relearn. For me, yeah, it's been so many years. I had to relearn some of the mechanics. But you play an all-star game to start things off, and it's like a bunch of former NFL players obviously on a roster, NFC versus AFC. So you got like Brett Favre at quarterback, Barry Sanders as the running back, Randy Moss as your wide receiver. But on both sidelines, and they made sure to note, is John Madden. So they got some like 2 different versions of John Madden. One looks like the big poofy, wavy hair John Madden, and the other
when
one,
he was announcer.
No, not even announcer. I'd say like later years with the Raiders, and then the other one's like early years with the Raiders, where his hair looked a little.
Okay, so like young John Madden and older John Madden.
Yeah, but versions of the coach.
Okay.
Version, not like old man him in the booth, but they would do. And if you don't skip any of this stuff, because you can like skip I don't need to hear the announcers talk or whatever. Every once in a while, they would highlight a player. Like if a player did something, like they highlighted Tom Brady. But then they'd cut to John Madden's voice talking about Tom Brady. I can't remember if that was included in one of the old Madden games or if that was some other clip of him from somewhere. But then they had like a halftime thing where they would talk about John Madden. So it was like a 2 or 3 minute thing about John Madden in the middle of the game. And so it was interesting. It's all right. I like that they're leaning into the celebration of John Madden. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to get you on your first ever time playing Madden.
No.
And get that on video. I think that would be a great video.
I don't do fantasy football, and I don't do video games.
Well, I think video games would be totally different from fantasy. You would just have to learn some controls, and I would love to see you do it. It would make great content.
Your mom and I signed up for a new streaming service.
Do you want to play against Mom?
And it took me forever to log in on the TV, having to move the arrow and the remote.
I'm sorry that you're technologically challenged.
I made a mistake, and it wiped everything out, so I had to start all over again, and it really upset me. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to handle a video game controller.
As long as you don't throw my controllers around, we should be all right.
I might. Who knows? All right, the other birthday today is that of defensive end and defensive tackle Coy Bacon, who was born on this date in 1942, and he passed away in 2008 at the age of 66. He played his college football at HBCU Jackson State, and he signed as a free agent with the Los Angeles Rams. He played 14 NFL seasons. He was with the Rams from 68 to 72. He played for the San Diego Chargers from 73 to 75, the Cincinnati Bengals in 76 and 77, and he finished his playing career with the Washington Redskins between 1978 and 1981. So those are our 2 birthdays today, August 30th. And we do have 2 obituaries this week. This is where we take a moment to honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first one is a big one. Len Dawson, a quarterback in the AFL and the NFL for 19 seasons, has died at the age of 87. Dawson played college football at Purdue, where future Kansas City Chiefs head coach Hank Stram was an assistant coach at the time. Dawson was selected with the 5th overall pick in the 1957 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played sparingly in Pittsburgh between 1957 and 1959 and was then traded to the Cleveland Browns, where he played very little again from 1960 to 1961. He then signed with the Dallas Texans of the American Football League. Hank Stram was the head coach of the Texans, and Dawson led the Texans to the 1962 AFL title in a double overtime win over the Houston Oilers, 20-17. The Texans then became the Kansas City Chiefs in 1963, and Dawson quarterbacked the team from 63 to 1975. He led the Chiefs to 2 Super Bowls, winning Super Bowl IV over the Minnesota Vikings. It was the last game ever played by the AFL before the merger with the NFL the following season. Dawson was named MVP of the game, After his playing career, he became a broadcaster for the Chiefs games on the radio for many years. From 1977 to 2001, he was also the host of HBO's series Inside the NFL. I never got to see that too much because we never had HBO back in those days. But yeah, he did that for a long time. Dawson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1987.
All right, and our second and final obituary is that of Ernie Zampese, who spent 26 years as an assistant coach in the NFL and has passed away at the age of 86. Zampese was an assistant coach in college at San Diego State from 1967 to 1975, and then with the San Diego Chargers from 1976 to 1986. He was also an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Rams, Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots, St. Louis Rams, and Washington Redskins between 1987 and 2004. He also won Super Bowl 30 with the Cowboys, and that was what, like 91, 92?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe 93, 94? I don't remember.
Yeah,
I wasn't old enough.
I didn't realize he had been in the NFL for that many years, but I've always heard the name Ernie Zampese, and he was with Don Coryell and helped create that Air Coryell offense out there, and he worked with a lot of great players over the years, and was a great assistant coach. So condolences to both the families, the Zampese family and the Len Dawson family. All right. Anything that you want to bring up? Anything that's come across your phone?
Other than teams are making it's cut day.
Yes, it
in
is.
The NFL.
Was that 4:30? Is the deadline?
I don't.
4 o'clock?
It might have been 4 o'clock because the Lions did release their full list of cuts and stuff. Obviously, we won't bore everybody with that right now. We'll look at it afterwards.
But yeah, I knew it was going to be right about the time we were recording.
If I haven't gotten any big alerts, like if any big name guys have been cut yet, so unless I see something like that, I'm not going to step in. But we should be good to move on to this week's history lesson.
Oh, so the Buccaneers haven't traded.
Why would they do that? I know you're going to say
traded him or cut him.
He was just voted the number one player on the NFL's top 100.
Yeah, but he didn't show up for training camp. So
whoop-de-doo. He's Tom Brady. He's 45 years old. Let the old man heal up just to come out and prove that he's still the best player in the NFL for some stinking reason for the 80th season in a row.
All right. Well, then let's move on to this week's history lesson. And this week, we're going to be talking about the greatest player nicknames in football history. This is part 2 of our series. Just a quick recap of the ones that we featured last week. The first one was defensive end and defensive back Dick Night Train Lane. And we talked about Lance Allworth and his nickname Bambi. We talked about kicker Lou the Toe Groza. We also talked about defensive tackle and defensive end William the Refrigerator Perry. And finally, we talked about running back Rod Smart, He Hate Me, from the XFL of 2001. All great nicknames.
Great nicknames. Good first batch of names.
Yeah. And we've got 5 more this week that we want to talk about.
All right.
And the first one on this week's list is Reggie White, the Minister of Defense.
Oof, I love that.
Yeah. Did you know that he was an ordained minister at the age of 17?
I did not.
I knew that he was an ordained minister, but I didn't think it was at age 17. But yeah, age 17, he became an ordained Baptist minister. He started out by playing in the USFL for the Memphis Showboats. I remember him very vividly playing in the USFL. And then he went on to play in the NFL for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers, and he finished his career with the Carolina Panthers. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006, and he's one of only 4 players in the Hall of Fame who got their start in the USFL, the others being Steve Young with the LA Express, Jim Kelly with the Houston Gamblers, and as of just this year, the class of 2022, Sam Mills, who played with the Philadelphia and Baltimore Stars of the USFL. So that's Reggie White, the Minister of Defense.
Which I never knew that was his nickname until you put this. I had never heard that nickname until you did this. So.
Okay.
I mean, when you first came at me with this list of guys' nicknames, I was like, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was ever called the Minister of Defense. That is such a great nickname.
Well, here's another nickname that you probably have heard of before.
I doubt it.
Wide receiver Calvin Johnson, known as Megatron.
Oh, yeah. I do know this one.
His fellow wide receiver on the Lions team, Roy Williams, gave Johnson the nickname during Johnson's rookie training camp when he said he looked like Megatron of the Transformers.
Right, yeah, because that movie had just come out. And I remember that a lot. Like, I remember obviously the movie, because I saw the movie a few times in theaters that year. It was one of the biggest blockbusters that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember watching the game where they talked about that story during the regular season. It had to have been the first or second home game or first game of the season. and they told that story. I was like, really? Like, we're hyping this rookie receiver up that much? Like, I was like, that's a big nickname to put on a dude who's just starting in the NFL.
Yep.
And here we are after him being inducted in the Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah.
He deserved it. He was a freak of nature out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, he played his entire career with the Detroit Lions from 2007 to 2015. And as you said, Pro Football Hall of Fame induction in 2021. All right, here's another one I think you've probably heard of. End and halfback Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch.
Ah, yes. You can't talk about football nicknames without probably this name coming across your screen at least, because there's some good ones out there, but Crazy Legs Hirsch, yeah, even maybe even average football fans should at least know the nickname Crazy Legs.
Yeah, well, he got the nickname because of his odd running style, and he started out playing in the All-America First Football Conference for the Chicago Rockets, and then he went on to play for the Los Angeles Rams. But he also starred in a movie called Crazy Legs, which I found somewhere. Or did you find it, or did I find it?
I can't say I found a movie.
But anyway, I've got a copy of that movie, and he stars as himself. It's a fictionalized story, but in the movie you do get to see him run, so you can see the running style that he did have, which was a little odd, and I think it was he like kicked his feet out to the side in order to try and keep tacklers away from him or something like that. But he started in his own movie, and then just a few weeks ago, your mom and I were watching an episode of the Munsters TV show, and he made a guest appearance on that too. In the episode, Herman Munster was hitting a baseball, and he hit Leo DeRocha of the Los Angeles Dodgers, because the ball went so far out of the park and went downtown, whatever town they live in, and then at the end of the show, he was kicking a football, and this time he hits Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch on the street. So that was pretty good. So yeah, he's done a lot of TV and movie appearances after that. But yep, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, another great nickname. Another one was halfback and flanker Howard Hopalong Cassidy. Now you may not be familiar with this, but he earned the nickname in high school when a sports writer for the Columbus Dispatch said that he hopped over defenders at the goal line during a game. There was also a Hollywood Western movie character called Hopalong Cassidy in the 1930s and 40s. He was played by actor William Boyd, and so that's kind of where the Hopalong Cassidy came from, because that name was already out there, and he just happened to have the same last name. But Howard Cassidy went on to win the 1955 Heisman Trophy out of Ohio State, and then he was the third overall pick in the 1956 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions.
Oh, another Lion on this list.
Yeah. And then he won an NFL title with the Lions in 1956, but he also went on to play
57.
for the, 57. And they also played for the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles during his career. But yeah, Hopalong Cassidy.
That's one I didn't
Western
know about.
star, yep. And finally, on this week's list, defensive back Fred the Hammer Williamson. What a great nickname. He was
Hammer.
He was a hard-hitting defensive back, and he played in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then in the AFL for the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. He earned his nickname in 1960 as a rookie in training camp with the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, he didn't make the team, but head coach Red Hickey of the 49ers during training camp asked Williamson to stop hammering the receivers. He was like being too rough with his own teammates, and he didn't like it. So I guess he didn't make the 49ers team, but he had a pretty decent career. Prior to Super Bowl I, Williamson was trash-talking about what he was going to do to the Green Bay Packers receivers when they got in the game. But it was Williamson who got knocked out on the field during a play. Williamson was making a tackle, and Packers running back Donnie Anderson's knee hit him in the head. He was taken off the field and did return later, but yeah, he was out cold in that game. So exactly what he wanted to do to somebody else happened to him. After football, he became a TV and movie actor. He starred in several blaxploitation films, and also one called Hammer, in 1972, where he played a boxer. So yeah, he went on to have a pretty good career as an actor after playing in the NFL and the AFL. So just to recap, the 5 nicknames we talked about this week: Reggie White, the Minister of Defense; Calvin Johnson, Megatron; Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch; Howard Hopalong Cassidy; and Fred the Hammer Williamson. All great nicknames. And we'll have more next week. I think next week I'll be talking about Heisman Trophy winners. I have 5 Heisman Trophy winners that all have some pretty cool nicknames. So
there you go.
That'll be next week.
A part 3. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, well, we got more parts to come, but part 3 next week. All right, so I guess we're up to
our upcoming
events calendar. Tonight, HBO's Hard Knocks Episode 4 at 10 p.m. We won't be awake for that.
I won't be awake for it.
But we'll watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out tomorrow.
Yep.
I've already been kind of avoiding some clips this week, just to change it up.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So it's fresh.
Yeah,
I think I saw one.
Yeah,
one
I
clip
saw
is
a
all
little
I
bit of
saw.
one, but I watched without the sound. So,
okay.
Looking forward to it. Hard Knocks has been pretty good this season, and not just because it's our beloved Detroit Lions, but it's just actually been a very good docu series. That I've just been digging. Like we just watched Welcome to Wrexham, or whatever that documentary is called about Ryan Reynolds. We talked about that earlier. But hey, I think it's just doing a better job than it had last year with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So,
well, this being episode 4, they're going to have highlights from their game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I guess was the last preseason game of the entire NFL preseason. So,
but then, now with all the cuts and stuff today, that'll probably start off
episode 5.
Episode 5,
yep,
yeah.
So only 2 more episodes left, and and then we'll be done with that. All right, Thursday, September 1st, going all weekend through Monday night, the 5th of September. Week 1 in college football. There are 16 games in the FBS, and it's going to culminate with a Monday night football game between number 4 ranked Clemson and Georgia Tech.
Oh, I can't wait. Week 1 of college football, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yep. And finally, on our upcoming events calendar, Thursday, September 8th, the NFL regular season begins with the Buffalo Bills traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Folks, that is just 9 days from today.
Oh, boy.
And
very excited.
And we're off again on another NFL season.
Ooh, been waiting for this what feels like forever now.
Yeah. Yep, it's been a long off season, and ready to get back into the swing of watching NFL games every week.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, anything else before we close the show?
Nope.
One last time.
If you're looking for team cuts, it looks like ESPN's got all the cuts and stuff,
okay.
So everything's out there. So see who your team let go, and probably tomorrow we'll start hearing about guys who made it on the practice squad. I don't know how long they can be on waivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a 24-hour thing or 48-hour thing. But
well, they just got to go. Every team has to say yay or nay, and as soon as that's done, then they can start signing people.
Yeah.
But and now the frenzy of we cut these 3 guys. Now we're going to get a few other guys to replace these.
Either replace them or you had to waive a bunch of guys in order to sign them later to the practice squad.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right.
That's always a bit in Hard Knocks where the coach is like, look, we want to keep you, but we have to waive you for now, and we're hoping to get you back. But unless the team picks you up, then good luck with whatever team picks you up.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And the big story this season was what was going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo out in San Francisco.
And he signed his contract. I'm surprised you didn't make that a story.
Well, yeah, I didn't really want to.
Between that one and then the sad story about the Commanders running back that got shot. I mean, just been some very weird, bad stories lately.
Yep.
Just, man, not everything can make the show. And
we don't like to talk about the sad stuff. I mean, it happens all the time, but we don't want to talk about it
for
here.
Prosperity's sake. Prosperity's sake? Uh-oh. Now I'm hungry.
There's a highlight. Prosperity's sake?
Prosperity's sake. I think it is good whenever we highlight even some of the bad stuff, just because it's like a football time capsule, this podcast. You can go back and be like, what was happening in the world of football at this time?
4 years ago or 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Oh, my God. Please tell me we're not going to be doing this another 5 years in the future.
Who knows?
Oh, man.
Maybe we'll have our own TV show by
Maybe
then.
I'll get cloned and I can have a clone do this show.
My goal is to be on ESPN Plus.
Oh, God.
Randy and Adam's places.
That's your goal? I'm telling you, we got to get your grave hunting
I set my
video.
goals pretty low.
That's not a low goal, sir. First, you got to learn how to do a lot of the video editing and stop making me carry that whole weight.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I'm good over here if you want to just call it a day.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
Go ahead and like us on Facebook. You know you want to do it. Facebook.com/TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow our Twitter account, which is at TWOF Kalamazoo. We post a lot of unique stories and pictures and highlights and videos and a bunch of other goodies that you may or may not be able to find anywhere else on the internet, because we may not make the content, but he will sure hit the retweet button and let you guys know what he finds.
Not everything that we post on social media makes it onto our show, so you've got to check out the
There's
social media to get
so
all
much
the
out there, like the story about the Christian school that forfeited
I saw
football
that
game because another team had girls on it. We weren't going to get into it, but that's a story. Go read that.
Yep, you can read that story.
There's just so much out there. You know, probably a couple other stories that you come across that I haven't even seen yet. So you're always busy with the Twitter. If anything, I'll give you credit with social media. You know how to hit that retweet button better than most people. I'll give you that.
Retweet and like. Don't ask me to do anything else.
Yeah.
An occasional comment here and there.
Yeah, he won't tag anybody. I mean, anything either. So still got to work on that.
What the heck's a hashtag?
Yeah. Anyway, you can find this podcast every Tuesday because we're available on every single platform you could probably think of. You can find us there, including on YouTube, where we post the full audio version of this podcast. It's not a flashy video, but you get to see the cool cover art we make every week, and you get the full podcast there if you listen to YouTube, if that's your thing.
Yeah, some people don't like to go find podcasts, but they will watch YouTube.
They will have YouTube. Yeah, you buy that YouTube Unlimited or whatever that's called, and you can just do the same exact thing. You could just keep it in your pocket, and then listen to your show, or prop it up and just listen to your show that way.
Yeah, so we shouldn't call it a podcast. It's just a YouTube video.
No, it's a podcast first. It's a YouTube
well, I know
video
for us,
second.
but some people, podcasts, I don't do podcasts. But I'll watch a video on YouTube, sure.
Well, it's not even, how many videos do we post? But anyway, you can find that YouTube channel, which is The World of Football Kalamazoo. Hey, hit that like and subscribe button. We're slowly climbing up. We're getting some interaction. Thank you to the fellow who reached out to us on there and gave us some suggestions for going to Toronto next time. We greatly appreciate that.
He mentioned taking the GO train, and that's exactly what I'm looking into.
That was one of our top options.
I've got a year to look into where the stations are.
Don't threaten me. Don't threaten me with
going
back
to
to
Toronto. I don't care how much it costs. He said maybe $20.
That ain't nothing.
Both ways. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
That beats staying in traffic for 3 hours.
I'd give him that Monopoly money in Canada for.
Oh, God. Here you go, Barney Stinson. Anyway, please subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff, guys. We appreciate it over there on the YouTube channel. Let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.